Hello all, my name is Shan Singh and welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's have a quick recap of what we have done in all our previous session. So we have basically started with performing sentiment analysis from exploratory data analysis, and we have find what are the top trending tags on YouTube. After it, we've also built this kind of relationship between views, likes and dislikes, and this is exactly regression plot of basically between views and likes and views and dislikes as well. So in this session we have this assignment in which I have to perform this emojis analysis on our comment. So very first what I am going to do, let's say I am going to access this comment data frame, and on this if I am going to call head, you will see this is exactly that data frame. Let's say I'm going to print, let's say I'm going to print this one row. So for this very first I have to access this data frame, and on this I'm going to access my comment underscore text column. This says my comment underscore text column, this last one, and on this if I'm going to print data of first index, you will see this is that emoji that you have to perform analysis on this. So basically whatever emoji you have some Unicode character associated with each and every emojis. Let's say I am going to print a Unicode character of an emoji, let's say, which is nothing but this slash U0001F600. If I am going to print this, now we will observe over here this emoji has basically this Unicode character. Similarly, whatever emoji we have, each and every emoji has some kind of Unicode character associated with it. So very first I am going to import a library over there, and if you haven't installed it, you guys can simply install it using pip install this emoji library. And once after installing this, you have to import this emoji as well. So just execute, and now your emoji gets successfully imported over there. Let's say very first I'm going to check what exactly is the length of my comments data frame. You will see it has somewhere around that much number of rows in data. So very first what I am going to do now, let's say I have to extract emojis from this one text, this entire text. So let's say I'm going to store it somewhere else. Let's say I'm going to store it in my comment, this one, and if I'm going to execute it, let's say I'm going to simply run a loop over there, and this loop is nothing but for C in comment. If I'm going to iterate on this comment, then I'm going to put a condition as if C in basically emoji dot Unicode, it has a function which is nothing but Unicode underscore emoji. So if it has some Unicode character associated with it, then only I am going to consider that particular emoji. So this is exactly code of list comprehension. So just execute it. You will see it has 3 emojis in your data. Similarly, you have to apply this logic on your entire data set. So for this, what I am going to do, I am going to extract this as for I in these comments. Very first I have to access my data frame, and in this I have to access my comments underscore text column, and in this what I am going to do, whatever I have written over there, I am basically going to paste over there, and this time I am going to say for C in I, because I have to fetch each and every character from each and every I. So whatever I have over there, then I am basically going it in my list. Once I have all this stuff, let's say what I am going to do now, let's say I am going to define a new string over there, let's say, and this string is nothing but, let's say, this str. After it, what I am going to do, whatever emoji I have, I am simply going to append in my string. So for this I am going to say for element in this list, str equals to str plus this element. So using this code, you can simply concatenate each and every emoji in this str. If I am going to execute it, it will take a couple of seconds depending upon your specifications. Let's say I am going to check how many emojis I have. So for this, I can call this len of str. We will observe over here it has that much number of emojis. Let's say I have to print my all the emojis as well. So I'm just going to print it. Now we will see we have all these type of these several emojis. If I'm going to scroll it below, you will observe how much huge amount of data we have. So we have to perform this emojis analysis. Let's say we have to examine what are my top 20 emojis over there. So it means you definitely need a count of each and every emoji. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say for I in set of str, because you need each and every emoji and set provide your uniqueness in your data. So let's say I'm going to define a blank dictionary over there, so that I'm going to store data in the form of basically key value pair, where my key will be emoji and value will be whatever count with respect to that particular emoji in this entire data. So for this, what I'm going to do, very first I'm going to say just access this, and whatever I am going to access from this, whatever emoji I am going to access from this, I am simply going to say str.count of I. It means it will exactly return me a value associated with I. So if I am going to execute it, so in this result dictionary, if I am going to print it, now you will see in this result dictionary you have some emojis, and with respect to that emoji you have some count. Let's say I have to sort these emojis on the basis of count or on the basis of frequency of the emojis. Let's say I have to sort this entire data. So for this, we guys can use this sorted. Let's say I have to sort this on a basis of, let's say on a basis of this frequency or on the basis of this count. So for this, what I am going to do, let's say, let me show you a thing. So let me show you a thing over there. So very first, if I am going to call, let's say items over there. So if I am going to call this items, you will see you have get all your data, all your dictionary data in this list, where you have this emoji and this count basically in the form of tuples. So what I am going to do in this sorted, I am basically going to pass the above one, which is exactly nothing but result.items. Let's say I have to sort it. I have to sort it basically on a basis of this count. So you have to tell to this function how I have to sort it. So in this key parameter, I have to say this. So here I am going to say I have to sort it on the basis of whatever data I have on my first index, because on this first index I have basically my count. Then I have to store it somewhere else. So how I have to store it? So I am going to say you have to store it. Let's say I am going to store it in my item. And how I have to store it? I have to basically store it basically using my lambda keyword. So here I am going to say key is nothing but lambda of all these things. And after it, what I am going to do, let's say from this sorted dictionary, I am going to access key and value. So I am going to say for key comma value in this, and whatever key and value I have accessed over there, I have to simply insert in some dictionary. So for this, I am going to define a dictionary. Let's say its name is final. So whatever dictionary I have defined over there, simply I have to insert my key value in this final. So for this, I am going to say final of key equals to value. So simply using this code, you guys can simply insert data in your dictionary. So just execute it and all your stuff gets executed. And if I'm going to print my final dictionary, you will see you have all your data in the form of increasing order, and all your stuff gets executed over here. Let's say I'm going to create two new, let's say I need data in the form of list. So how I can fetch, how I can convert this dictionary into list? It means basically I have to unzip this list. So basically I am going to say, basically let's say I am going to create a list as, let's say, whose name is keys. So in this keys, whatever keys I have in my this final dictionary, I'm going to simply store it in my this keys list. So for this, I have to use a unzip operator over there. So I'm going to use this unzip operator over there. So if I'm going to execute it, and if let's say I'm going to print it, now we will observe in this keys list you have all your emojis. Similarly, with respect to your, let's say, with respect to your count, you guys can call your values over there, because values will exactly return me all the value available in your dictionary. And basically you have to unzip it as well. So I'm going to simply use this operator to unzip my dictionary, and simply I'm basically going to store all these things, let's say, in values. And if I'm going to print my values, you will observe over here you have basically count with respect to all these kinds of things. Let's say I need a data frame in which I have top 20 emojis. So for this, I'm basically going to call this data frame function, and here I have to pass my data in the form of key value pair. So here the very first one, let's say the very first one column that I want is exactly my chars column, and here I'm going to say I exactly need the last 20 entries of my keys, because last 20 entries will definitely will be my top 20 emojis. So to access your last 20, you have to say -20 till this one. Similarly, with respect to your values, let's say I am going to define a new column. Let's say its name is num, and similarly for this you have to say values of -20 till this one. Let's say after doing all this stuff, I'm going to store this in, let's say, df. So just execute it, and if I'm going to call, let's say I'm going to print my data frame, this one. Now you will see with respect to this, you have some number of count associated with it. Let's say you have to plot this, because you will see somewhere what if you have 100 emojis. So in such case, your visualization plays a better role. So let's say you have to visualize all this stuff. So let's say I'm going to use a very user-friendly visualization, let's say deployment level visuals. So for this, you guys can use Plotly in such scenario. So basically I'm going to use my Plotly. So I'm going to say import plotly.graph_objs as go, and let's say I have to import my some offline mode as well, so that I can use my visualizations in my Jupyter notebook. So for this, I have to import this iplot module as well. So just execute it, and in this go, you have a function which is exactly my bar function, which is this one. And if you will press shift plus tab, you will get all the parameters over here. You will get all the parameters over there, which is exactly the main one are my what are my x data and what are my y. So let's say on this x-axis, I am going to say this df of chars. Similarly, on, let's say, on y-axis, I am going to say df of num, because here you have column name as chars as num. And let's say I am going to say this is exactly my, let's say, trace, and you have to pass this trace in your iplot. So here I am going to say just pass this trace in my iplot. So just execute it, and it will take a couple of time to return you some deployment label visuals. Now we will observe over here that feature has that much number of count, and it is definitely a highest count. You will see this smiley, this laughing smiley has a highest number of count. It means most of the users that are going to comment on your videos are mostly using these type of emojis. You will see it has loving emojis, it has this one emoji, it has this heart type of emojis, and all these different emojis as well. So hope you will love this session very much, and all these type of beautiful insights from data. So that's all about this project. Hope you will love this project very much. So thank you. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing, keep practicing.